Ugh. Buenos nachos. I mean, where? Miércoles. Miércoles. Buenos miércoles. Milagros. Milagros? Milagros de Jesus. I saw that there was a woman named Milagros de Jesus. It's like, this woman's name is Miracles of Jesus. That's pretty, it's pretty serious. Probably mentioned that before. Just came to mind again. What's morning? Mañana is tomorrow. Just días? I mean, I'm sure there's a word for morning that I'm not remembering. Anyway, I'm becoming full hillbilly without the hills and no billies because I don't have goats. So maybe I'm not as hillbilly. And I'm headed to an office job. But I have a patchouli essential oil. Little dab of it rubbed on my chest. That's right, full-blown hipster. And then kombucha with hops and plaid. It is for the win. See, I read about essential oils and what makes them different than regular oils, but I'm still confused. I understand that essential oils have just a ridiculous amount of molecules and therefore are capable of having much more fragrance, thus the use of them in diffusers. They also get used in health and beauty products. So, I don't know. All right, so I wanted to address something. This will be for obviously later because it says there's 0 people. So, Bear Arms is, he gets it. But to those of you that are single and young, or single and single, but young matters too, because your body feels different too. Your body does feel different. It just does. You recover faster. And I'm not saying I'm to the point of like slow recovery, but you start to notice changes that kind of make you go, oh. So every week, guaranteed, and it went up to 50. It went up to 50, and then on occasion broke 50, but not by much. That was with AT&T. They had a big reordering of things, where I was used to getting 45 to 50 hours, which, contributes to more income, obviously. Started getting 40 and never a second more. So it was a reduction of force in sorts. And then they said, oh, and by the way, in 2 weeks, you guys are going up the pole. Or maybe it was 6 weeks. We're going to send you to a 3-day training and then you guys are gonna we're changing the jurisdictions, and you guys will be going up the pole to check the and you'll be handling things at the VRAD a lot more. So I was like, well, VRAD, whatever. But there's just the boxes you see on the side of the road. You see a AT&T truck or whatever kind of truck. It's just kind of like the thing that handles the neighborhood. I forget how many spots. They could have 250. They could have 500. I guess it kind of depends. But I think a standard, I don't know if it's the slot or the whole box, but I remember the number 250. But it has to do with part of the reason 250 is because some of these cords, this is completely meaningless information, but you know, sometimes people like to learn random information. So these cords, you probably see, can you see them? Yeah, you can just barely see them. Right. Like getting honked at because there was a green light, and yeah, that feels good. Anyway, you saw the cord. All these people go around me. I don't care. I should just stayed there. Turned my car off and acted like I was having engine trouble. Wave them on. Go on without me. Go on without me. I'm filming a video here. 250. A lot of these cords have 250 pair, and some of them have more. It kind of depends on the city. But oftentimes, especially the ones that break off into neighborhoods or whatever, they'll have 250 pair. Anyway, it's complicated, the way that it works, the systems, it's really weird. But it's not. I mean, actually, it's really complicated. I was about to say it's not that complicated. It's pretty complicated. It is actually pretty complicated. Alrighty. So I was working the 45 to 50, and then it dropped down to 40, which you think was a fine thing, but I was making $15 an hour at the time, more than I'm making now, ironically. Because that was a decade ago. That was in 2011 and 2012. I got married in 2010. So anyway, so I went from that job. I got a phone call randomly. I was in the market. I was looking for another job. Paul listed. I understood that I probably wouldn't die, but I had met a couple of guys that had. I heard a story about one guy that did die, and then the two that were paralyzed just from the waist, just from the waist down. I mean, come on. And then met almost every ST that I had met, and several FTs. Oh yeah, I fell. Didn't scrape my way the whole way. Later, I was finally plucking the last piece of wood out of my skin. We're talking about, like, I don't know, 6 or 7 different dudes. And they'd all had an experience either halfway down or the whole way down, slipping, falling, whatever. And it's not like it can't be done. But what happens, especially in older areas that aren't all full of soy and lollipops and stuff, is the poles don't get replaced as often, and you go to lock in, and you just, well, that's what you use your belt for. I know about the belt. I'm all familiar with that. When you're trying to do a job, they keep on pressuring you, hurry, 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 hurry. You know, well, that's on you. That's all completely, I mean, whatever. I just decided not to be, I didn't want to do it. Not because of the hardness, just I didn't see the cost-benefit ratio wasn't there for me. And I've mentioned, I've caught up with some of those guys on the phone years later. They're in the 20, almost, some of them are in the 30s, but the upper 20s an hour. They're all making over 60K. From 30, they've doubled their income in, I guess, 8 years. This was a couple of years ago. So in like 6 years' time, they doubled their income. It's interesting. It is interesting. But lock it in. All right. So I went from that to doing the life insurance agent thing. And that was, I left the house before 6 or at 6 every morning, Monday through Friday. And I left the house around 7 or 8 on Saturdays. So 6 days a week, every week. And I didn't get home Monday through Friday until around 10, 11, sometimes midnight. Like, well, why were you in somebody's house selling life insurance until midnight? People are weird. And we were directed to take the appointment. Take the appointment. So can we see you guys at 9? I'm like typically sharing the gospel with people, talking about all kinds of stuff, not about life insurance. Had really great, meaningful conversations that led to me sometimes selling life insurance, but also not, because it wasn't my primary focus. I was like meeting new people and really excited about just hearing about people's lives. And anyway, so we're talking, I don't know, what is that, 16-hour days? 12, 16, 16-hour days guaranteed, 5 days a week, and then another 8 or 9 hours on Saturdays. That was the light day, like a good old 9 to 3, 9 to 5 on Saturdays. And I did that for almost 2 years. June of 12 to, what was my next job? Oh, yeah. June of 2012 to January of, or really December of 2013. So a year and a half for sure. And it was the same schedule. It only got more because I leveled up to the manager stage and all that, life insurance. I had a team of people underneath me and stuff, all that stuff. So that's the kind of experience that I had early on. And as the kids got older, by the time, so my first daughter was born when I was working for AT&T. My second daughter was born when I was working for American Income, the life insurance company. And my son wasn't born until a couple of years later. Oh, well, that's cool. My alarm is going off. It's convenient. Yeehaw. All right. Are we still here all alone? Good stuff, good stuff. So anyway, I was driving over 100 miles a day, over 100 miles a day, 500 to 800 miles a week. And just, morning, just all day, every day. And we did a knee-jerk reaction. This is not, it didn't work, it wasn't working, it wasn't going to work. There was a vision, there was a hope, and it was all an illusion. So I don't even know how many hours. I mean, 80, 88, over 80 hours. Over 80 hours almost every single week. Almost every single week. There was some nights I would get home at 7:30, 8. But most of the time, not. I lived in Asheville, and I would be traveling from Asheville all the way from Madison County, McDowell County sometimes, Franklin. Is Franklin a county? No, I forget the county, but like Franklin, North Carolina. But we hit up all over Western North Carolina, so sometimes it was a long ride home. Anyway, it was a lot of hours. And the thing is, as your kids get older and your wife wants to see you, all that stuff, it's just, all right, this isn't going to work. It's not going to work. And you see the ones that have the schedule you want, and they didn't. What did they do to get it? All that stuff. Anyway, my wife and I did the knee-jerk reaction, and we started working together at a group home, and that was all fine and dandy. And then so on and so on. The rest of the story unfolds that I've shared before. But anyway, it was bad, and though 48, 50, 56 hours, all that, whatever, doesn't sound like that much, especially considering things that I've done. My kids were all asleep when I walked out of the home this morning, and almost every morning. And what are they going to be when I get home? Well, let's say I leave at 5. I get home shortly before 6, and I get to spend 15 to 30 minutes before they're having to get ready for bed. And see, it's just not natural because historically, good morning. Good morning, Uno. Person number 1. It's not natural because historically, your kids would just be wandering around, following mom around all day while she does her work, and then following dad around while he does his work once they get to a certain age. And that's what happened for thousands of years. Thousands. And there are some places on Earth where that still happens. But in America, that is the exception. So when you only are seeing your kids 15, 30 minutes, and sometimes not at all throughout the week, and you get, anywhere from 3 to 6 hours on Saturday, and then all day on Sunday, let's say 11 or 12 hours. I'm talking about 15 let's change 16, 17 hours, 16 or 17 hours a week to spend with your children. That's not a whole lot of dad that they get, as opposed to 2 to 3 hours nightly, and then all day Saturday and Sunday, more in the neighborhood of 8 plus 24-ish. 32, I mean, it's half. It's half. They're getting half as much dad as the dude working the sweet 9 to 5. And yeah, I get it that there's a lot of those guys that they're not mentally present, and quality, not quantity. I understand that. But unfortunately, in some of the same ways, even though 16 hours is hypothetically what they get of dad, because their dad is not perfect, they're probably only getting about 12 hours, maybe only 8. I would say that in a given week, they get around 8 hours from their dad of direct attention. Because that's not just my kids though, my wife, I can add a little more of that time because bedtime is different for my kids than my wife, but same kind of thing, 3 to 4 hours a night. But it's not 3 to 4 hours a night because I'm splitting it between spending time with my wife and doing some of these other things, or providing her an opportunity to have some rest and relief. And anyway, guys, it just is what it is. I'm just saying, 56 hours might not sound like that much, but it's not the way it was meant to be. So it really distorts life. Johnny, welcome. Good morning, Johnny. Good morning. It's kind of a low. Everybody's asleep or something. I don't know. But I had a comment, Johnny. I don't know if you're still here, but I guess that you are. I had a comment that 56 hours really wasn't all that much, but with a but, he gets it, He gets it. He's got a special person in his life now, and that starts eating up your interest. But when you have 4 special people, same thing, just more. He's talking about polygamy. No, I'm not. It's so strong. It's so strong. It's kombucha, guys, with hops. Woo! What a way to start the day. Man. Yeehaw! Anyway. Yeah, good morning. Johnny, I'm wondering if you're number 2 and number 1 is one of my secret people again. I tend to have this, and what'd be really weird to me is if the secret watcher that never comments, if it's the same person every time, that would be it. That would be kind of interesting. If it's a different person, then that might make more sense. That there just happens to be a certain type of person that likes to watch YouTube videos that just never comment or whatever. Or, I don't have enough subscribers for that. I was like, maybe it's like a bot. But I have a feeling that a bot wouldn't have to display its presence. So, I could be wrong. Alrighty, put that down. Get that sun out of my eyeballs. Did you say eyeballs? So, that Coldplay song, for some reason, apples made me think of this. But I was just really good at getting lyrics wrong growing up, and I still do it from time to time. Shouldn't I pull off my head? Shouldn't I pull off my head? Shoot an apple off my head. Excuse me. So with those, with that English accent, totally for the longest time, yeah. And there was another song, the young white cannibals, which I don't understand what on earth they were thinking in naming themselves. They were probably a bunch of sodomites. But that song was one of my favorite songs as a I don't know, 5-year-old or 4-year-old or whatever. She drives men crazy, I suppose is what the actual lyric was. But I kept on saying me. She drives me crazy. But I guess maybe it was men and me, and my memory on. I thought that there was a lyric in that song that I was definitely getting really wrong. But I've done misunderstanding of lyrics pretty regularly throughout my life. It's one of the things that I'm consistent with. So. And I couldn't help myself. Sorry, I just had to have closure on that one. And it's a little fun to hit the, what is that, a falsetto? I don't know what that is. I think it's falsetto. It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird to think about why people sang the way they sang. Here's a special request to get to Owen somehow, some way. Maybe I'll just send him a letter someday. I could send him a letter. I should probably do that. It's hard to say what you want to say concisely. You know, he ain't going to read no 5-page letter. Just the volume is too much. But I want him to do a breakdown of the Beach Boys. Because I'm kind of wondering if one or two of those guys might actually have a little decency to them. They seem like a decent band content-wise, but I'm probably just ignoring or forgetting really terrible lyrics. But skill-wise, they had the skill. They definitely weren't just full of nonsense. They kept on like getting killed and stuff, though, right? Or maybe they just died. I don't know. The band fell apart, is all I'm saying, over the years. And I don't know. Did they have a reputation for the party life? Because that's something I'm definitely not remembering about them. I'm sure everybody did for the most part, but most of the time the bands that broke up was because somebody had taken a moral stance and was like, no, I'm not going to do all that nonsense. And they're like, fine, you're out of the band, bro. Okay, not most of the time, but that is one of the reasons. That is one of the reasons why bands have broken up in the past, is because somebody was like, no lollipops, no fancy pants, and they're like, you're no fun. We're gonna go start our own sodomizing band. It has happened that way. That's all I'm saying. What did I do? I forget what I even named this track. Good morning, everybody. We got Johnny, we got Gabe, got dude Begbie. Still hurting my brain, man. Mr. Good Bear. If you remember the episode number, and you can put that in the comments, I wouldn't mind going back and watching that little situation unfold again. Because I remember it, but I don't remember it like super well. And I'm wondering too, now that I think of it, I'm remembering when Steve Pender got banned, when he was Steve Pender 1911 something or other, and he got banned. I remember that happening, and I was like, oh man, oh, serious? And Pender was just talking about like being kind or something. I can't remember exactly, but he was appealing to kindness, encouraging kindness or something along those lines. And there's a boulevard, you don't stop for the bus, but because you stop, it makes it look like if I don't stop, I'm a non-law abiding citizen. But sir, when there's a boulevard, whatever, doesn't matter. Anyway, but yeah, and now I just was like, because I started seeing Steve Pender in the Owen Benjamin chat and stuff. I'm like, wait, is that because Pender started a new handle? Because he used to have the 1911 thing and all that, but now he doesn't. So I don't know. I was just like, isn't that interesting? I don't know. It's kind of interesting. And then I've seen a lot of the Gamma people start doing videos. One that I was subscribed to, and I was like, nah, I don't think I really want to be subscribed to this. No more narrative news, or no, maybe it was not more. No narrative news. DMC, no narrative news, something or other. I watched his video right after yesterday's video. Later on, this guy posts this video, and he's calling Owen Benjamin a hypocrite and a liar and all this stuff. And I'm just like, this guy's really butthurt. Sucks to be in prison or jail. Those guys are jail, mate. Jail. They're in jail, not prison. There's obviously differences. Dude, I wish this place earlier. The Dollar General. It's all right. I've got plenty of food today. You know. All right. So Josh Todd, I'll be sending your album today. I've already made up my mind. Just reminding myself and holding myself accountable. Maybe they are open earlier. I don't know. I thought they didn't open till 7 or something, or 8. Oh, it doesn't matter. All right, so just letting you know that. But yeah, there's been so many bands. So yeah, the gamma people doing their videos and the hypocrite. You got to be. There's something interesting about the butt hurtness though. Like these people are really. And I didn't used to. That's obviously modern lingo. The whole phrase "butt hurt" and all that. It's whatever. I'm not gonna park across the street. I'll just park across the street after I run my errand. It'll be all good. It's all good. There's something there, you know. They're not having the attitude and saying the words that they're saying out of a love for truth. They're saying what they're saying and doing what they're doing out of a profound jealousy or something like that. It's just too emotional and attacky and a little chihuahua-ish for me to take seriously, because they just say words. They don't say anything with meaning or logic. If they had real takedown besides just hypocrite and liar, they'd have content. Like when, for instance, like when I say Jesse Lee Peterson is a false teacher, leading people away from Scripture and away from God, and leading people into self-worship. That's a lot of content just in and of itself, and I have evidence, and people back me up on that easily that have paid any attention to his stuff. Now, is he a comedian that doesn't know it, and that's kind of fun to watch? Maybe, but you know, supporting that guy financially or otherwise, I find not good. I'd rather support VLDL, a bunch of goofy. I was gonna say retards. Those guys aren't retards. They're smart, actually. They're goofy guys and ridiculous, and you know, I don't know anything about what their religious beliefs are or any of that. They're in New Zealand. So yeah, whatever. But I would rather give money to VLDL than Jesse Lee Peterson. 100%. If I had $100 and I was like, all right, you can split this money up between Jesse Lee Peterson and VLDL any which way you like. And I'd be like, but you have to give all of it away. I'd be like, all right, well, $100 to VLDL then. I wouldn't give him any percentage of my money at all. Because it's the subversion. At least VLDL isn't subverting anybody. They might not be leading anybody to the truth, but at least they're not lying about the truth. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong in that perspective, but some of you guys don't even know who VLDL is. But anyway, he was defending Nemmer. Oh, Mr. Oh my gosh. That's sad and awkward. Check out VLDL. I mean, I would recommend to watch their entire board. You might not care about their video game videos. They're funny, but they're nothing, because if you've never played the game, it's like lots of context. You need context to understand some of those videos. But their board series, they have like 150 episodes, and there's a narrative that they've built, and it's all about working in a computer store, and it's a good series. It could be a real TV show, but it wouldn't be full of subversion and nonsense. It's really good social commentary. They've done an excellent job. And if you watch the entire thing, you get to watch different narrative arcs, and it's good. So VLDL, the board series, start at episode 1 and just work your way through. And it's good. It's good stuff. So anyway, I'm going to go so I can clock in 6:30ish. And thanks for everybody joining this morning. It was 0 people for a while, and I was mainly just talking about time. And I don't think I really did honor the title this morning. But working on it. Read your Bibles today. Just take a small moment to read your Bible. 5 minutes. 50 minutes. 500 minutes. But at least 5. At least 5. All right. Arrivederci.